Whiskey and White going all the way. What up, world? Welcome back to another episode of Whiskey and White Show with me, your host, Tommy Mac. And again, I'm solo because the mighty Celt is in Germany getting prepared for its fight. December 7th, tickets are available now. Make sure you get one. It's down in Waterford. He's fighting Dylan Moran. Going to be a brilliant fight. And we are in association with the number one competition page in the world, Our Kings Competition. Make sure you go and get on and get a wee ticket. The tickets are maybe £1, couple of p, you know what I mean? The next thing you buy one, wee 40 grand, a skyrocket, or get a wee fucking Lamborghini or something, do you know what I mean? So make sure you check them out. And if you haven't watched it, make sure you hit BBC iPlayer to tune in the main turn short called The Spar. Very, very funny indeed, if I say so myself. Make sure you all watch it. Keep on watching it, because the more people watch it, then we'll get the funding to turn into a series. So, with that being said, without further ado, we've got a very special guest here today. And this man is a local legend, the most talented sportsman to ever come out of his city, maybe out of the country. That's why I'm their club, Jody Lynch.
Cheers, mate.
Jody, thanks for coming on. They've been trying to get you on for ages.
I know, mate. I'm just flat out. No, I think it was the last time you tried to get me on. I think it was shortly after the interview done. For the mental health, and I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to, I had my message out there, and I didn't want to do anything, but you sort of collared me in this one now, right after the last, it's at Irish Newser on Sunday, so we were paid up. But listen, I'm glad it's good to meet up with you, and listen, we'll go back a long time, and listen here, because I'm here, and that's it, and here, what can you do?
So Jody, you have a brilliant story, like I said, the most talented sports person to ever come out of Belfast, but you've recently, like you say, you were in the paper this week. You had your mental health struggles with addiction. We'll get into all that, but let's just go back to when we first met each other, when we were kids growing up in Lenadoon, and the greatest football player in the district. Like, how did you get into football?
See, I think I was 4 when I joined Plunkett. I was 4, joined Plunkett when I was living in my mum and dad's first house, where it was in Poglass, I think. And my Uncle Philip obviously played for Plunkett. Was Plunkett man always at those days. So I went down to was 4. I was 4 years of age. Went down, and they were training at the Dabneys at the time, the old Dabneys years ago. There was no nets, so radiators used to use for nets and stuff. So I started off there just at 4, and I was playing mini soccer, whatever it was at that age. I can't remember. It was
mini soccer.
It was like mini soccer or something. But I from the end then, I was me, Plunkett, and you know yourself, street team matches we had. We were sort of, obviously from Poglass, I got to move down to Lenadoon. We moved to Lenadoon. I was living in Horn Drive. You were up
Full Cara.
And then you had the boys on up where I'm living now, up in Creeselock.
Yeah.
You had like 3 teams, like bottom, middle, and then the top, and then you had the snobs around Stewartstown, thought they could beat anyone, but I was Daggy Bunting and all, by the way. They couldn't, but he just bullied them was off the pitch. I just listen, like I says in the papers, and it was football was my life, just always. It was just, as soon as I woke up, it was just football, and I imagine once if I would say a pitch get built, it was. I went round Harry Murray's door 6 o'clock in the morning. I remember getting up every morning, going round, robbing his door. He used to give me a key. Used to be a wee electric box. Still there, the wee green electric box. Used to have a floodlights and all that. Used to go round and stick a floodlights on and stick a thing, and then that was me before school.
When did you realise that you were actually class? Because I always say to people, Jody Lynch is the greatest footballer of all time, and I think I'm joking, but you actually are like the most talented I ever seen, naturally talented.
Well, whenever I was younger, I don't know. See, to be honest, I never thought that it was better. Like
it was just coming normal.
It was just normal, just playing and just enjoying football. And see, to be honest, the Plunkett sides whenever we were younger, they weren't great sides. There was some serious Plunkett sides, and my side we never really won anything. And then we never really won anything, but like I'll mention the boy Matt Whaley. He left the football and went to golf, and also with me, Matt Whaley, and a couple of yours in the team, I was sort of a year above my mates, Daggy Remark and Michael Healy, and all. They played a year
That was
below.
my wee team.
That would have been your team.
I was taking a pitch by storm.
You were taking a pitch by storm. I remember one of the games going over and watching you, and you were it was over in, what do you call that pitch over at Finnegy? Over at Finnegy or Weatherburn. Over at Weatherburn. You were playing, and you were playing for Gord at the time. And the ball got put in the middle of a park, and two people went off for a header, and you went over the top of him and caught it. Over the top of him, caught it, and he should have dropped the ball. Wrong sport, big man. Wrong sport.
See, it became like a friggin' old folk tale in Lanadoon. Tommy was playing for Plunket, he jumped up and caught the ball, and it just added bits. He started toe tapping up a pitch, ended up scoring a point.
It ended up,
It just got more and more mellow. But what happened, I remember the match that day, we were playing St. Mary's, and we scored and they scored, and then we scored and they scored, and it was 3 each, and then they went 4-3 up. And it must have been about 2 minutes left in the match. Me and this foul going up for a header. But I remembered kind of in slow motion, both of us jumping at the same time in my memory, and he was just getting me but above me.
He must have been a big lad.
He was big,
because you were always big. Tall, like.
So me and him was both going up, and he was just seemed like he was getting there before me. In the slow motion, he said, smacked the ball away from him. Obviously, the referee blew up, got a wee free kick, and it was just quick. Boom, we took a free kick, and then the whistle went for the end of the match. But then everyone fucking blamed me. That's your fault that we got beat. We were getting
beat. I just caught the ball.
See, officer, I get winged out. I actually get put up in the other team. Oh, you're too big to play with us. And I was sitting on the bench end every week.
You put up the our team because we were all mufflers. I
was on the bench every week, and then he used to stick me on the last 10 seconds. If you don't play, you don't pay. Hey, Tommy, get ahead.
Get the money.
Give me £1, kid.
Hasn't changed, mate. Hasn't changed. You know what I mean? But I like when you say about being class and thing and all. Listen, you were at that age then. I think I was playing on my Lusk one time, and I seen there was a fella grab me after. A fella called Tony Coulter grabbed me after, and he says like, "Give me a letter," and was like, I didn't open it, and he says, "Have we read it that there when you get home?" And sure, I hope to see you. And then when I get home, it was like Manchester United School of Excellence. So. I must have been standing out, and I didn't really know, like, because we were all a team, and at that age you were able to skip it. Listen, I was always small, and I was able to skip past players and do this and do that. But there was other players in the team, like I say, Matt Whaley and all. I thought Matt Whaley was a better player than me whenever we were younger, like, and obviously I don't know what they seen. They obviously seen something in me, so. At that time, I went to Union School of Excellence, played alongside not Johnny Evans wasn't there. I was with your boy Craig Cathcart and a couple of yours who made a pro. It was brilliant. It was class. You had to give you a full United gear and all. You were going out and playing against these teams, and it was class. It was a brilliant feeling.
And then the buzz, because I can remember the buzz, like even in the first day pitch and all, like Jody plays for United.
Oh, that's right. I know. You thought you were a pro, but I was sort of, and then I just remember. I actually remember them days of hard ended because I ended up, like I says, my mental health whenever my man took bad wasn't, and I started fucking about, messing about, and
what age would you been around that time?
I was 10 whenever she took the mental breakdown, but I can remember. My dad chased me about the streets. It was a Wednesday night. We used to train up in Lisburn. There's a wee like tennis on the way in before you go to Wallace Park down the left hand side. There's like a wee tennis venue. We trained in the big hall in there, and I couldn't be annoyed going, even though you're
living a dream.
You have a chance there to go and do something like, and I was my dad was chasing me about the streets to go training, and then he was taxing to make up excuses and all. And then I remember receiving a letter saying, "Listen, the end of your thing is game, whatever." And I was just like,
Didn't care,
didn't
really.
care. I was
Yeah.
like, aye, so like it was. I'd rather ran about with my mates in the street.
So would you say, like, unknowingly, that at 10, that was the beginning of your, like, mental struggles?
I definitely, around that, because as I said in them interviews and whatever else I've said in the papers, my mental health sort of, like, usually I always put on a brave face. Tommy, you used to see me. I was always bubbly. I was always running about with the mates. Always in the centre of everything. If it was a fight, I was in the middle of it. If it was a joke, if it was something, if it was, I used to remember the cops and all coming around. I used to be the first one out with petrol bombs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was one of the first ones out. You know what I mean? No, that's just the way I was. And but I was all up front. That was all me acting a big lad.
Tyrone said to me, the madness, he's like, he remembers when you were in school, in secondary school, your class and his class was like a war going on. And one day they were all like in the yard messing, and Jody just run over to nowhere and smacked me. Smacked Tyrone. He said after that then he's became best of friends.
I think I remember that. There was a wee bit of because you had mixed classes.
Yeah.
In La Salle, we sort of had mixed classes, and then you had your own foreign class, and something that happened. Can't really remember what it was, and so there was a wee bit of thing, right? Who's going to hit who, or who's going to hit what? And I think
I'll get Tyrone.
I think it was Tyrone. I think it was Tyrone. No, I knew he was sort of a boxer, or was a wee bit of something, and I was like, if I hit him, then I don't think anyone else will sort of get back into us. So I was like, sort of fall guy. I was like, right, I'll go and do it. Tyrone would probably blather me, do you know what I mean? But I just took one and hit him anyway, and then I was it was all just going about and whatever else, and then Tyrone, and after that, see, to be honest, Tyrone, he ended up very good mates with me like in school, and a load of hours. I didn't get on with in school for his first couple of years, and then I ended up becoming real good mates. But I love La Salle. La Salle was brilliant. Yeah, it's like you say, you try to tell kids these days about school, and they laugh at you, and you're going, the best days of your life.
That's I went to St. Mary's, like, and I always say that my kids, like, school was unreal. I used to love going to school. I used to be buzzing for it because it was always good crack.
So did I, but the most of the time I got suspended, so I was always in the, always in the house. So and when you get back, you got fucking that in the ear by O'Gara, O'Gara, and a couple of hours, and just. See, to be honest, I wasn't thick in school. I honestly wasn't thick. I
didn't apply yourself.
I just didn't. I was a messer, and they put me down to one of the lower classes, and I think it was about 6 in my class at one stage, and they let us play PE most of the day or do something like that. I can't really remember, but it was. I had ended up school was just a mess for me, yeah, and but like I say, it was even the school team. I was. First year to third year, I was captain of the school team, playing centre half, and then because we were messing about, and I'll bring Jackie Maxwell on this. We were playing a final over in the Hollywood Road. I think it was Brantwoods or the Welders pitch or something, and he made a sample out of me. I was a captain, and then once we got that pitch, it was a final against Boys and Model, and he benched me and wouldn't play me, and we were getting beat. And Jackie Maxwell tried to grab O'Gara over the fence and he tried to punch him.
Yeah, because he wouldn't put
he wouldn't put me on. He wouldn't put me on, and O'Gara was just like, nah, not doing it. He was fucking about in school, and he just made a sample. I mean, do you know what I mean? So there's nothing I really could have done. Listen, I was only a kid at the time, and I just seen them two sort of getting at each other, and I was going, what's going on here? But I remember Jackie just trying to, he shut me down watching. He shut me down watching that.
It's true, like, I have always, if I had friggin' 11 Jody Lynch's, I'd be like Sir Alex Ferguson. I'd be winning a travel every friggin'.
Listen, you have a different talent, Tommy. You know what I mean? You're able to throw a dig.
Well, sure, you can throw them as well. Anyway, so you had a spell in a boxing club too. That's what I say about sport. Anything that you ever done, you were good at, like naturally good at. Because I remember in primary school we played in the Gaelic team and the hurling team.
Got the final. Did you play in the...
I played in your year because I was that good to put me up here.
Well, I know that. I know you were a Gordon Mona man.
But I remember playing...
But did you play in the final casement then?
Oh, yeah.
we did win that, didn't we?
Why?
Yeah, we
Aye.
won that. Because I can remember the whole school down. They had all the big banners
Yeah.
and all up. It was what a day. That was a great day. Aye. And then we had from that I ended up getting selected for the Belfast Schools county team and went down and we were playing Dublin. And my man and dad were getting picked up on the Saturday morning or Sunday morning, Saturday, Sunday morning. So one year was a casement, the following year was a Croke, and the year after LDS it was in Croke Park. So we were meeting at like 8:30 in the morning. See, to be honest, I think my man and dad or something had a drink the night before. I think this was just before my man. P7. So P7.
Just 10 or 11 picks.
So they were sort of, I think I was during the time of them of our sort of breakdown or whatever happened, and the next morning I know they had a drink. Whatever happened, they had a drink and was slapped in, and I missed the train
Fuck's sake.
down to the match. My dad jumped in the car and drove me down, and I ended up getting down in time, done the
Happy
warm up,
days.
played the match, and then scored the winner against
Great.
Dublin. Scored the winner
Yeah.
against Dublin, and it was powerful. And then they had all pictures around the school of all. I think
Yeah.
I think Michael McCauley played in the team, and
Michael, yeah.
someone else, Mickey Thomas. You remember Big Michael Thomas? He was from originally from Shaw's Road. Good lad. He was an oar cracker. We all played in getting picked for the county. Aye. But I was an oar. I was an oar. Great memory. Like
in primary school, you were on every team. Basketball, the friggin' the school, all the wee pictures, all the wee sports team. Just your picture was in every single one. Did you get the wee award? Did you in P7?
I got it. It was like a sports thing.
Aye.
In P7. Aye.
And then you're just one of them guys. There's certain people like it that just turn their hand at anything, and then you join a boxing club. And I thought you had natural ability. You looked like you were a natural boxer, but you were in a hard division. You were fighting.
I was, and I remember joining the boxing, and this is like a true story. Like I joined the boxing, but I honestly I can say I had no fear to fight anyone. Like see the people I fought Marco McCulloch in the Antrim final to get me down to All Ireland, and to be honest, that was probably the best fight I had. He was quick as
Marco.
I couldn't get near him. He was Sparky told me Sparky Ray was unbelievable. He was class. He says to me in the last round, he says, "Listen, Jody, you're getting beat here." He says, "You're going to have to go out and seriously do it in the last round." And I just went out and I just windmill him in the middle of the ring. That's the best I could do. And he beat me. He beat me, and he was listening. He shook hands. And see, to be honest, after I bumped into Marco into Marco a load of years later and all. He used to talk to me all the time. All real sorry fella. And I fought Paul Halen, the whole Halo. I fought him up in the thing. But our weight would have been 33, 36. And it would have been me.
It was always packed out. Like
me, Donald Burns, Daniel McCoy, your wee man Kiki from Poglass, and thing. And it was like I was a novice, and they had
loads of experience.
They had loads of experience, and I was fucking so club shows I would have done rightly. And then, see, to be honest, I was never stopped. I was never stopped in a fight, but there was one fight that I didn't even go into the ring. It was in the finals upstairs in the club show. And it was through all the shit with my man all. And see, whenever I say about like my mental health or whatever, I used to get this thing with boxing. I still got it in football during these times, like loads of like excitement, like excitement and nerves at the same time. So I had sparred this boy 2 weeks before, and I bothered him around about the ring, and so they took the fight. They took the fight in the finals, and as I was doing the pads in the finals, I felt this. So people get different nerves and different excitement or whatever else. And my stomach gave way, and I couldn't start throwing up. And Sparky was like, "Are you all right?" And I was like, "Sparky, I can't start throwing up here." And he was like, "Right, just call fight off." I felt embarrassed. It was as if I was scared. I wasn't. It was nothing to do with that. I wasn't afraid of that. I wasn't. I knew I'd have done the fella. Sparky says, "Jody, you'd have done him," or like, you know what? I was like, I know. And I was sort of my only thing regret in boxing, just not doing that one wee stupid fight that I think, because I went and fought in Antrim finals and all. Like I wasn't afraid of the fight. Anyone like anyone to come up for spars from down the road and all. Always held me own. Fought boys out of Corpus and that there, and so I was good. Like I say, Sparky did take a wee liking to me, and he he used to drop me up because at the time I was playing for Landberg, he used to train me. He used to train me in the club, and then he used to
Drop me
after
up the
training
train,
drop me
yeah.
out the Landberg training. And I was very light in my feet, and I was hard to pick off, and I was good at that way. But
Did you feel pressure, like not pressure, but you're good at so many different sports, so you have to do all of them. Like if you had more, like say there was 9 of you and siblings, like one could have boxed, one could play football, one could. Do you feel like you had to do them all?
no,
'Cause you were
I
good
don't.
at
I don't
them?
think it was a kind of. It was. I joined the boxing. Paddy Gall was
Yeah,
there. He's a mate of ours. We
yeah.
all grew up together. You boxed. You were down here. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? You boxed.
And boxing is so big, especially in Lanadoon. Everyone in Lanadoon has done
Has
a
done
wee bit.
something, and I just remember just going. No, it is. I want to box. I want to box. Just for myself. I can remember. I can remember like I didn't let anyone bully me, but I remember with my best mate who he knows him. He knows him big too, big easy. He as we were on the building Lanadoon one time, I don't know if you can remember it. He there was a story behind the reason why he hit me. It was something to do with something silly and whatever. And I let him hit me, and I didn't hit him back, and I stood there, and I went right. That was it. But I was by myself. I was
Yeah.
actually walking to a garage. I was walking to a garage by myself, and there was about 10, 11 of them, and there was 2 all in once from Carrygarden
Yeah.
on, and all the girls were running out with, and he hit me, and then I let him away with it, and I was like, great, I'm gonna get him back. So I ended up getting my Kira and whatever else, and we were walking up, and
Yeah.
he ended up saying something to me when I was eating a pizza, I think, at the time, and I just dropped the pizza and beat the head of him in the middle of Lanadoon. And then after that there, me and Tui became best mates. That was
Yeah.
us, you know what I mean? And then it was Tui's brother Stephen Granda, God rest him.
Yeah,
It was
R.I.P.
it was him. I think it was him that got me
Because
around.
he was boxing
He was
Emerald and
he
he
was a
was
cracking
doing
boxer.
brilliant,
He was a
yeah.
cracking boxer.
And he
He
boxed here actually at the start.
did he come from me? He was
Aye,
here, aye.
him and Brandy Gall were here first,
Right.
and then the 2 M's went up the.
Brandy Gall, I would have for me, I would have been the same as Brandy Gall
Yeah.
in the ring. Sort of Brandy Gall was. I used to watch him.
Slickster.
Slick, so slick. He was just on his feet. He just couldn't get near him. He was powerful in the ring. He was class. But boxing was only a small part of my life. Like it was only a small, and I really did enjoy it. I was, like I said, I would love to get back into like a bit of training of it because it's the best training you can do.
Definitely.
It's class, like.
Especially for mental health and all too.
Coming
It would
out.
have been great for you at that young age, and you didn't even realize that you were having mental health issues, and then you were able to go to a boxing club. That was probably why you did feel so excited and you were
That's
buzzing.
it. And there was excitement, and there was thing, and there was because I was doing something myself, and I was like I was. I know, like sometimes I would have blanked things out, and then it would have come back all back to me. But like I would have got. I don't know. I would have got. I was never like there was a fear inside me of. It wasn't a fear of fighting or playing football or fear. It was me. There was a fear inside of me of like, I don't know. You might not even understand it, but it's like an unknown fear. It's a fear that
You don't want something to go wrong.
something's bad. Something's going to happen bad, but you don't even know what it is, and you're thinking the worst in your head
Yeah.
all the time, and. Like it's a mad feeling. People in addiction and people that go through mental health, they have this fear. They do, and it's a real bad feeling. But it's a fear of the unknown. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And at a young age having that. Now whenever I sort of got older and got off a drink, I knew what the fear was, and I knew how to deal with it and sort of erase it quickly. Where back in I couldn't, you know.
Yeah. What age would you say you started drinking it? Like probably drinking, because I know.
My first carry out, I think was me and Daggy Kearney. Me and Daggy, we got I think a Xant or something to win the offlines for us, and must have been 14, 15. Aye.
And then did that start you off
So even at
for
that,
weekly drinking, or was that just the one off?
So whenever I look back, even at that, like it would have been the weekends, and then I remember during the week I used to go. I was sort of sell stuff in school. I would have went up to Pat Ryan's or up there Spar, and I done like 4 bottles of Lucozade for £2, and I used to go in and separate them and sell them all in power bottles and and do that all week and build myself up for a carry out.
Entrepreneurship.
Do you know what I mean? Just to get that extra
Yeah.
dough. And then obviously he was a king of pitchy in school. And used to
Get the money up.
get the money up
extra
for
bottle of wicket.
so I done that, and then so I went from doing that, and then I can remember me wanting to drink like during the week, like whenever I was supposed to be training with football or doing things, and then just when I look back, it was like I was starting to drink like 2 or 3 times a week when I was younger, like asking people, "Do you want to drink tonight? Do you want to drink?" Used to get bottles of VK. I don't know if you remember VK. They were like doubly KD, but like a fake version.
Yeah.
They were like all different flavors. You used to get the MR. They were a pound a bottle.
We midweek drink.
We midweek. You used to stand there at the park. You used to stand there at the park and have a few drinks, and then that was it. And then, but it was never like getting up the next day hungover and like I couldn't do anything. It was just I was young. I was a kid, and I was just. And then the more as I got older, and like I say, and that story tells it all, and what I done in that last interview. But from me, and like but like that, just all trauma. Telling you, it was just like, just not having that. And you listen, like you had a tough life as well. Like you live with your granny and granddad, and
I think that obviously, you're a good guy, but I think why we became mates when we were young, because. But even though we were never said, but we know we have that in common. You live with your granny and granddad, I live with my granny and granddad.
100%. Only around a corner too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And like my mother was dead, but your mother, did your mother go into the hospital?
She went to so she was sanctioned under the Mental Health Act, and she was in Knockbracken. So she would have done a stint in Knockbracken until she was actually feeling good, because she was obviously medicated. And then she would have come out. And then, so back in, you're talking, what was that, 99? You count up, how many years is that?
That's 25 years, is it?
25 years, right? So 25 years. So say for the first 10 years, 10, 15 years, 15 years, say, she would have been medicated, feeling okay. But once she got to a certain point, it was like she would have took her tablets orally, so like she done it herself. So I used to be able to tell whenever she wasn't, because she started declining. Like I could see in her moods, and like she used to turn on me, her own son, who she loves.
Course, yeah.
Like she would have turned on me, turned on people in the house, turned on neighbours, turned on everyone. And that was her, because she wasn't taking her medication and keeping it upright and doing that there. And that went on for 15 years, 16, 17 years, whatever it was. And then she was sanctioned so many times. She was in Knockbracken, and then I can remember she was in the Mater Hospital for, I think she'd done like a 2-year stint in there, but like, and going and visiting her every day was just, used to see people walking around the corridors, and they were just all talking to themselves and all, and I was like, why is my man here? Do you know?
And as well, like, what age you would have been a teen at that age?
Teenager, do you know what I mean? And you're going like, why is this happening? Like, why can't, like, because I can remember my man like in the kitchen cooking dinner for me and being happy, and my man was a good looking woman back in, like, she was blonde hair, she had lovely teeth, she had all this here, and then she obviously with all her medication, I took it all away from her. She was on steroids and different things. She got heavier, and her teeth started obviously rotting with the amount of medication she was taking, and it was heartbreaking to watch as well. And just for myself, and obviously my wee brother, he could. So whenever he was born in 97. So he was born, and then he was only
a baby.
Whenever she took sick. So he didn't know no different. He didn't know my ma whenever she was well. Do you know what I mean? So like for him going through all that there, he didn't know no different.
Yeah.
He was brought into the world just the way my ma was, you know what I mean? And look away I ended up, you know what I mean, with the drugs and the drink that way. And
like your wee brother, rest in peace. He was another one like you. Like, I was thinking there must be something in the DNA where they're just sporting like accents, because Philip was just another kid. I remember when we were playing, you go, Philip, do this, and he could do all tricks with football, and he could fucking puck a hurling ball further than anyone. And he was only about 6 or something, and he was he could just do everything. He was just unreal.
That was
Football
him,
and
and
all
like
sports.
and he was both footed. Our fella was left and right footed, and he was an R one. He ended up at Liverpool. He was in
Yeah,
the Liverpool academy, and was doing brilliant. And their wee team, the Plunket team they were in at that age, was the they were a joy to watch.
yeah.
You had like the two there was other Lynches in the team. We Josh and Molly Lynch.
Are they related to
And
you, or no?
no relatives, but Stevie Lynch was the manager. But you had wee Peachy Reid, you know wee Peachy.
Yeah,
You had wee man Stevie Fallon. And they were a couple of them ended up turning pro. A
yeah,
couple of them ended up across
yeah.
the water, and that team they were in, they were unbelievable. But then our Philip obviously started going down the wrong road. Seeing Papa's me, seeing shit, and obviously the story was where he ended up. I obviously had to go over and I found him. Well, I didn't find him dead. He was dead, and by the time I got over and had to identify where he was with the overdose, but just I tried. I even with him, I tried. I got him into rehab where I was, and he just didn't want. He didn't want the help.
Mm,
He was too far gone. Do you know what I
yeah.
mean? God rest him. Like he was, and see, to be honest, I used to see people getting like videos of him. He was always in trouble. Always people always videoed him. Like
And it's a
just
bad
help a kid.
culture these days, isn't it? You
Like
know,
you
if
know what I mean?
something bad's happening, the first thing they want to do is go bang instead of exactly help someone.
Help him. It's not him. Our Philip had the biggest heart of gold in the world. Like honestly, he would have done, and he loved me to bits. Like everything was big, bro. Big, I love you and all, I love you and all this here. And I was hard on him. I was
Yeah,
hard on him just because I was trying my best for him, and I had to be hard. I was put like I was. It
yeah,
was just one of them things, and just and that's another one that's just sadly passed, and it's down to the drink and drugs again, and it's just riddled with this place is riddled with it, and it's
yeah.
well like
There
it's
is like, especially the young people coming through, and you know, you're talking about the trauma that you're experiencing off, you know, from your mommy and your brother. I was experiencing it. Let's say that's the generational trauma. It's driving young people to
100%,
drunk and drugs.
100%, and like I say, I have a sister or Arlana who says in the interview that my dad took sicker last year, and he passed away in February or last year, and
R.I.P.
I I ended up she got married, great fella, big bloomer, he's a big mate of mine. But Arlana hasn't had an easy life. She's a woman, and she had no
Mm,
mother or beside her either. Like, and she's Arlana must be one of the strongest women
yeah,
going because they're not having mother figure like, and every like you know what women are like.
yeah.
I
They're
know
cling to
fellas
their
can sort
mummies
of
big time.
be
Yeah,
macho and try their best to
yeah,
get on with things, and women have I know their main work's different. You know what I mean?
yeah,
The women need their mother in their life, but Arlana's doing amazing. She's a brilliant mother, and she works her socks off. She was been working works in she's been done well and got a job in the hospital and all, going through
mm,
like a wee course in that there. So she's doing well for herself that way. But she's another one suffered the trauma, and she's dealing with it in her own way, which for take my hat off to
yeah.
her. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
So that's sort of what way it was with my man, and the whole thing. And my dad, unfortunately, listen, he was a brilliant guy. He ended up he was working. He was driving instructing at the time, and my dad took sick, and then his head was he couldn't deal with it, and he ended up going to England, and he done the long distance lorry driving. So I ended up obviously we moved in with
Yeah,
my granny
yeah,
granda, and that was me from there. Um, but whenever he come home every couple of weeks, and I spent whenever he come home, I was in
yeah.
because. But I
Was
was
your
just
dad a good footballer?
my dad was my dad years ago. I got told he grew up in he grew up just facing the Davits that the wee street down there. I forget what you call it. Just on that what's that park called?
Dunville Park.
Dunville Park, Dunville
Mm,
Street.
yeah,
Um, and my dad was a powerful footballer apparently when I was younger, both feet,
yeah.
class. My dad ended up taking a disease, Perthes disease, in the two hips, and he was in hospital from he was 8 years of age until he was 11.
Jeez.
I think he was in hospital for 3 years, and he lost a couple of inches in height as well.
I've never even heard of it.
Perthes disease, So he had to learn how to walk again
Yeah,
and all. But I remember whenever I got into the sort of teens and he would have played over at Olympia, I used to go over with him and all.
yeah.
and you could see he still had
He
a wee
still
bit
had
about
it,
him. Like,
aye.
but he was another one. Just he had
Just
he had a tough. I don't know. It just keeps going on. You
yeah.
go on all day about that tough this and tough that, but you just have to get
I
on with
know,
it.
definitely just have to, grit your teeth and get
That's it,
through it.
mate. That's it.
And then obviously, your uncle Phil, who played for United, and among our clubs, but obviously everyone wants to highlight the United, but he done his best work at Norwich, wasn't it?
Norwich, aye.
Yeah, was he an inspiration for you growing
Oh
up,
yeah,
or
big time.
and it's
Yeah,
like if my uncle can be a footballer, I can do it.
like like my uncle Philip was. So I was the oldest grandchild. My uncle Philip, whenever he came over, was just like I would obviously in my granny's or whatever. He was class. He used to bring me everywhere, and then even when he played for Norwich, he used to fly me over, me and my granda, or me and my aunt, me and our aunt, and just go over for weekends and that there. And I remember my granda going over, and there was a wee Irish bar, Delaney's over in Norwich, and my granda was a wee regular in there. He used to go over, and my granda used to go down, and
Knew them
cause
all.
cause Philip was a footballer, he used to
Uh,
my granda used to go down, and he used to be like a wee celebrity. He had his wee hat and all on, and but he loved it. He used to love getting over to watch the games. And Philip he was an inspiration. And not even that, though. Our Philip has always had his faith about him as well.
yeah,
You know,
because like that was a big story, like from being Premier League footballer or professional footballer, and then he just like turned his back on it. The commit to his faith.
well, that's it, 100%. But like I say, like he always had his faith. And me aunt Annette, who's real strongly in their faith. Sort of got him into like prayer meetings and different stuff like that there. And our Philip did always pray and always
Yeah,
believed in thing. No, like he didn't hate it that he was
that he was
that he
religious.
believed that
Yeah,
he was religious. And then obviously I haven't really got personal into how it went with him. I wouldn't ask him, but that's his story.
yeah,
But he I speak to Philip all the time, and I've never seen him so happy.
yeah. That's what
Do you
life
know what
is
I
about
mean?
in heaven. Well, Father Phil, you're always welcome on the show. Come and share the story. Because I want to know how you go from Norwich to parish priest. Where are you in Cork?
He's in Cork.
Oh,
He's in Cork. In he's a Dominican, so they're in like
is he right?
so
So he's
like they're
in
in a
like,
monastery. A monastery. He's not a parish priest. He doesn't go out and say
alright,
mass on like a Sunday or whatever.
oh,
And he would be like he would take classes like as in like college classes in religion and whatever
yeah.
else. And like, down there, like he's the wee 5-a-side team and all, like a priest and all. And
He's skinning him all.
drinking about and all.
He's a ringer.
But he's happy and he's doing
Yeah,
what he's
what he
supposed to
wants to
do,
do.
and that's
Yeah,
it. And you can't take nothing away from him. He had all the women, all the money, all the cars, and that it just shows you it doesn't make you happy.
yeah. Wasn't for filming him.
It
Yeah,
wasn't for filming. There was a wee hole missing that he had
Had
and
he-
now he's happy, and and I'm happy for him. Do you
yeah,
know what I mean?
definitely. So, like, back to you, Jody, you were dealing with these, like, personal battles. And like you say, you always had a brave face. You're always funny and outgoing. That nobody knew. I didn't know you were going through all this behind closed doors. And you're still doing all sports, but you're playing football, flying in football. And then you became a father at a young age. Did that drive you on to take football more seriously, or
Nah, see, as when you're a drinker, you're an alcoholic. It's a selfish disease, and I'm not going to
would
be
you
honest.
say you were an alcoholic again at 16? Weren't you 16 when
Listen,
your daughter was born?
people that have different views on alcoholism. Like people say, either you're born you're an alcoholic, or else you can become an alcoholic.
Mm,
I think, in my opinion, I think you can become an alcoholic. I don't think you're born an alcoholic. I think things trigger you,
yeah.
and then you get that used to it that you don't know another way out, and it
Mm,
just keeps going on and on, and like I say, it just becomes one of them things. But no, at that age, I was like, when our Dervla was born 2007. Me and Kira were 17, turning 18. Kira lived with Anne and Anne and Daisy. So, and they were brilliant at Dervla.
yeah.
They were very good at Dervla. And so me and Kira Kira was still went to sixth year, and I was working away. I was working in the sub again, and I was doing it. I started off as a bricklayer, and then I was getting like a tenner a day, and then I got offered it
tenner a
was
day.
a tenner a
Jesus
day,
Christ.
and then I got offered 70 quid a day or something. It was by one of the boys that drunk on the bar to go and do labouring, and I just
Aye.
left the bricklaying and went, no, I'll go
Oh,
do
it's
that.
no brainer.
So I was doing that there, and then I was thinking at that age, you're loaded with, um, yeah. So then I worked when I worked in the stuff again. That would have been me in there whenever I
Yeah,
could.
the wee paint after work and
Any
all.
chance I got that was in the stuff again. That was
Yeah,
me for until I stopped drinking there. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Aye.
And
So
then, but because I remember reading this. Well, no, I didn't read this. I remember reading a story about you and another player who were going through the journey to get the sobriety, but then people saying they were getting blocked all at half time. Is that bullshit or?
no, I was bullshit. I was bullshit. I was never drinking at half time or never
Nah,
drinking. No, I would have, like I say, I would have had a good session on a Friday
like
night,
the night
the
before,
night
yeah.
before, and I would have been hammered going to bed 6, 7 in the morning, and then going and trying to
Uh,
play. And then I couldn't wait. Like my aim was to get there. I didn't care if I started,
yeah, just as long
and
as you get
as
the
get the final whistle over and get me another drink. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So that's the way it ended up with me.
So like you went so from the working in a bar and labouring. When did you sign? Was Cliftonville, was that the first team that you signed for in the Irish League?
So
Or?
I sort of so I ended up Plunkett. So our wee team that says they were
Yeah.
not the best, whatever. We ended up playing right the under 18 or whatever it was, and they folded, and then I ended up playing 3 years, I think it was, above myself. Um, Big Liam Carlin, Big Liam Carlin. So Big Liam Carlin, you had him, you had Popman, you had we Big Maga Jones and all
Yeah.
that age. So I was
Aye.
playing
No,
sort of
like big lads just when
right.
you were kids.
So
So.
and I was still small. So I was playing a couple of years above myself there. Um, we got the Harry Cabin final. And I played. I was down in Moorview, Glen Evans pitch. Playing Ballinamallard, could be at 1-0, devastated. But even then, like I was drinking, but I wasn't. I thought I had it under control.
Mm,
I was getting away with it because I was young. You see, when you're
yeah.
18, you can get away with it. Like you can go out and drink,
Yeah, and
and it
get
doesn't affect
them.
you much. You're still
Yeah.
able to get about. Um, but so I ended up playing for a couple of seasons until I reached my own age. You know what I mean? So and then I stopped playing football. And I remember sitting in the house and Noel Monaghan, who was a part of Plunkett at the time, and Marty McLaughlin, who has took over from Jackie Maxwell, um, were at the door and says, Jody, you're not sitting about. He says you're too good to be sitting about here. I spoke to Tommy Breslin. Now Tommy Breslin wasn't the first team manager. It was Eddie Patterson.
Right.
Eddie Patterson was the first team manager at Cliftonville, but Breslin was in helping him and says, go up to the White Rock Leisure Centre. That's there was this morning, 2 by kids. And just go and speak to Breslin, and then so he obviously not spoke to him. He says, right, go and play with reserves. After first season, make up press, saying me to play for Cliftonville. I think I played about a season and a half, 2 seasons with the reserves, and then called up this training season. I think they may have been short of numbers in the first team. Called up, done well in training, and then
See when you get called up that, we like this is my
it was
chance to shine here.
well, that
Yeah.
was it. And then it was weird because I was expecting to be like them to be all like so good, unbelievable, and they were, but
Not as good as
I
what you were
wasn't.
expecting.
But I was no, but I was on that wavelength.
Right.
Like I was like, right, I'm just as good as these. You know what I mean? And I remember having a great season, training season, and then bang, I'd signed or I signed. So I was on the Tuesday, maybe Thursday, I don't know what it was, but we played the CIS Cup on the Saturday, and me and Rory Danley both played. He started me up at Lawrence old pitch. It was like a rainy, old stormy
Yeah.
day. It was like a mud bath, and they gave me an extra large kit. I'm not joking, an extra large kit. I come walking out, and it was short sleeve, and it was down to earth. And I was like, yes, I would look like a child. I looked like a child playing. And I ended up, like I say, I played about 75 minutes, but I may have played the full game. I think I played a full game, and we won 1-0. I set Roy Danley up,
Yeah.
and then That was in the CIS Cup. So then we went and played a league game. I was on the bench, and Barry Holland, remember Des lead. Up at the distillery, Barry Holland was playing at the back and got injured, and Eddie Patterson told me to go and warm up to come on. And I can remember just coming on, and Chris Cannell gets a ball, like it came to him, and I was coming down the left, and he just toe poked it through their legs, and I had a first time straight into the top corner. And then from that there,
Lynch.
it gave me
Lynch with an ollie.
Lynch about 20 fans giving it that. But so from that there, then I ended up saying, and I think it was 50 quid, first contract.
Happy days.
Here, give me 50 quid. Like I wasn't getting fuck about money here. I got me my beer tokens. 50 quid a week or something that was for, I think it was my first contract. That was a year or something. And then I had a good first season for Cliftonville.
Yeah.
I had a good first season. I was still young enough. I was drinking, but I was still young enough and got away with it. And then the second season sort of caught me out. I was drinking, and it started playing a big part. Like it did. It played a big part.
Was there anybody on the team saying to you about it? Like, or
there was people in the team not egging me on, but I would have went out with during the week and all, like Wednesday nights and all, or after training. What I went out and drinks.
That's what you don't need, like, because I remember one St. Patrick's Day. I remember Paddy Barnes fought in New York, and he got beat, and his face was blood all over it. He was meant to go over and win, and it was an upset loss. But when he come home, we says, right, we'll go over to Swilly, because the Swilly's just across the road from my house, and I'm very, very rarely in the Swilly, but we were just going for one pint. And I walked in, and I knew that you were trying to get off a drink, and you were in there blocked. And I went, Jody, the fuck are you doing
That's
here?
right. You were sitting in the wee middle booth. You were sitting in the wee middle booth, wasn't it? And I went down. I went down. I went down.
What the fuck are you doing here? And they were like, okay. And then I was like, Jody, what's going on here? And then there was loads of people in there, and they were all just like laughing and slagging. Oh, he's getting him, man. You were all enablers, this man trying to get off a drink here, and they were all, and they were like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Sure, it didn't mean that's what I'm saying. They're associates. They weren't mates. They were associates who I just drank with in the bar. And listen, I was happy going, and the last thing I probably wanted to hear that day was fucking Jody.
I left then after. I was like, nah, right. Because I didn't want to be an enabler.
I know. No, listen, here, no matter who, at that time, see, if I was out drinking, that was on my own bat.
Yeah.
No one ever forced me.
Of course, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Listen, there was people.
But the environment, you know, the environment, people around there 100%. Support you, yeah.
Listen, but there was people behind it, like, and I'll say as here, clear as day, like, the bar staff in the Swilly, there was a certain bar, like, Marty Hanna behind the bar is a good friend of mine. And he looked out for me big time.
Yeah.
He hated seeing me get in there, like, and he's one of the ones that I really respect now. I didn't at the time, because he was sort of on my back and on my case and telling me about the kids and telling me about that. And I was like, fuck, Marty, just
give me a drink.
Just give me a drink. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, so coming back and getting sober and all, I was like, fair play to Marty, because Marty was the only one sort of saying to me, like, he wasn't there like to take money in the bar.
Yeah.
He was worried about my health. Do you know what I mean? And like people like that there, fair play to them, and I do respect that there. Like, you know what I mean?
You need that kind of support. So like your second season in Cliftonville, the drink was getting in the way of your performances and stuff. What made you like then go, this is getting too much, I want to get sober?
It didn't. That's what I'm saying. So as I was playing, like, I had a good pre-season. I remember not going down and getting a good pre-season under me, and then I was fit enough, and then but that year we were playing Celtic in the Champions League. Tommy Breslin left me out of the squad. We got over to Parkhead. And it was the biggest dream you're going to have as a kid, like on the Landon, to play at Parkhead or Celtic Park. And we got over, and he named the team, and I wasn't in. There was a 24-man squad. Me and Big Dermy McVeigh, you know Big Dermy well. Me and Dermy were left out of a squad. The only thing I got doing was trained on the pitch that day, for fuck's sake. That's the only claim of glory I got. You know what I mean? Trained on the pitch, but that obviously played a part. But see that weekend. And being honest, Kira's dad died around about that time, and we had a fundraiser for him in the Swilly.
Yeah.
and I was on the gargle. I was on the gargle for 2 days. So, and I can remember flying out there was a flying out from Belfast City Airport out to Glasgow, and I was fucking dying. I was dying, and I thank God the match wasn't till the Tuesday. I think we left on the Sunday morning, and then trained Sunday afternoon, trained on the pitch on Monday, or no, I made a train on the Monday and then trained on the pitch Tuesday day before the
Yeah.
game, a wee late session. I can't really remember, it was that long ago, but
Still blocked.
I probably still blocked. But like I say, like them opportunities were
Yeah.
all there for me,
So
and
do you think Bresnan left you out because he knew you were on a drink?
I just wasn't myself. I wasn't
Yeah.
playing to my
Playing their
ability.
standard.
I wasn't
yeah.
playing to my standard. Like I know, like there was players in that league of players. Even me playing myself, like there was some games I was playing and I was just getting it and just hitting the ball just to get it away from me, and just
Yeah.
like oh, that wasn't me. I took a ball and used to love getting the ball,
Yeah.
doing a wee jink and trying to pick passes and have confidence and thing. And where I just didn't. I just didn't. I ended up at eventually using football to drink. Do you know what I mean? Right,
Yeah.
I'm away to football here to get out of the house.
So
That's
you
my
get
cue.
a
That's my
drink.
cue to
Yeah.
drink. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that's how it got me. And then so when I come back from Parkhead, my head was melted because I didn't get on, which was my own fault. I can't blame no one. I was an idiot. It was me doing it. It was all my own doing. But I ended up going to Carrick Rangers, and I done well at Carrick for say a season or two again, and then it got the better of me again, and I found myself on the bench whenever I started off at Carrick. I was scoring, I was assisting, I was playing brilliant.
Yeah.
I was playing, so he played me out in the right, and then we Aaron Smith played right back, and I just remember we had this wee I went inside and he used to overlap all the time, and I was playing with the big fella Gibson up top and all. He was a cracking big player. He played for the Glens with a cracking save. We done the treble with the done the Steelensons intermediate, and then promotion to the Premier League.
So that was
So
the first season, was it?
no, that would have
No, a
been
couple of
Michael
seasons.
Hughes took us the first season. It was under Gary Aver,
Yeah.
another fella who I'm still very close with, who sends me messages all the time.
Yeah.
He was worried about me back in and would still
check in,
check
yeah.
in with me. He's another real great lad. He's from Larne. But that's the same. We've done the treble and all, and getting promotion, going up to go play back and play in the Premier. So what did I decided.
Happy days. Let's get the beers.
No, we ended up back up in there's a wee bar at the top of Carrick Rangers. I forget what you call it. It was the top of the ground, and I can remember I was black, steaming, and it was one of the committee men. He actually wrote a comment to me on Twitter a couple of years ago. This is the year Jody headbutted me or something. So I got blocked, and your boy, he was on the committee, and he said something to me cheeky in the bar, and I just turned around and gubbed him and headbutted him, and then I'd left. When me and Aaron Smith ended up back in his, partied all night. All the boys went next day to Lavery's, and I went still in the same clothes and walking to Lavery's, and your boy that I headbutted was sitting there with a big black eye, and I went, fuck me, got the apologies here. And I walked over and apologized to him, and he fair played on me, could have got me, and he was like, listen, no hard feelings, whatever. But it was bang out of the order what he says. I can remember what he says, but
no one said. Tell me off camera.
And I'll tell you off camera, and that's it, because it was a wee bit, I'll not go into it, but he deserved it, to be honest. So and Gary Haver ended up saying to me, Jody, listen, you let me on a position here, and he ended up fighting my case to get me an hour contract. And by that stage, I was like, Gary, don't even bar. I ended up going and signing for DC. Nicky May rang me, saying for DC, just for an hour place, just across the street. It's a nice bar. Drink away.
The bar just get done up.
You know what I mean? So that was me, happy enough to do that. And then from in, that was me. That was downhill spiral. What was
the thing then? And Mickey say, I need to get this sorted.
So the rehab was that I can remember just constantly crying into my pillow every time I went out on benders, because my benders started off at like 2 days, then 3 days, then 4 days, then it went to a week, and then it went to 2 weeks, then it went to 3 weeks, and it was me like, I'm not seeing my fucking daughter or my kids here for 3 weeks, and that, Kira wouldn't let me stay nowhere near the house. We ended up having a house at the time and all, she wouldn't have let me stay nowhere near the house. So when she knew I was on a bender, it was stay in your
away,
granny's.
yeah.
So the kids never see me drunk or violent or anything like that there, which is a
Which
godsend
is
now.
good, I know, yeah.
Like now I'm going, thank God, because God knows what they would have seen.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But
them too.
so I would have went to my granny's and then got up. I was getting up at 6 a.m, Tommy, and going round the way and flat facing the face.
I remembered because I went for a run and the flats facing the Swilly, were you going to say?
Flat facing the Swilly, or else.
And you come out. I remember I was running up Surrey Road and seeing these like three fellas coming out and they're black to the state agents. And as I got closer and closer, and I went, fucking Jody Lynch, what the
I know. So I would have got up at 6 a.m, and it would have been all boys in their 60s and all, like 3 of them are dead now, like. And they had been drinking from 4 or 5 in the morning, big bottles of fucking Frosty Jack or something, the cheapest drink you can get. So I used to go up out of my granny's at 4 or 5 in the morning, full of DTs, needed a drink.
Yeah.
Just go up and wrap one of our flats, every hit wrapping flats in the morning. And then would have get in, and then that would have been me drinking like fuck. And then as soon as the bar opened at 9, back over to Swilly. And then I would have went over to Swilly, juiced about 1 o'clock, home for a sleep, fell asleep for 2 hours, straight up, back over to Swilly again. Then I went back over at dinner time, and then back over at night. These 3 times a day I was going over to a bar.
That's mad.
And then I just came to a point where I went, I need help.
Yeah. Did you say it yourself? Or
I said it to myself. It was my Uncle Philip. My Uncle Philip got me the Nuri. He got on and found out about Kimura and got me down there. But it came to a point where I had a belt around my throat in my granny's room, and I went. I remember just hearing voices down the stairs, and as I was trying to do myself in, I went to do it, and the kids just popped into my head. And in our Philip's room, he has it like, so when my Philip comes upstairs with my granny's, he has his own wee room, and he has it done like an altar and all, like it's like a wee holy room. And I just remember just looking over it, like Our Lady and like different things like that there, and it was like starting to backtrack and whatever else, and I didn't do it, thankfully. And then I walked down the stairs and I said they are Philip, I need help here. I need help. So he got on, got me, found out what the crack was with that rehab. Went to the rehab. I had to wait on a phone call, so I had to ring myself, refer myself, got down there. And see, to be honest, Tommy, it was probably the best 3 months of my life, because I was away from everyone. I was away from, remember I said about the fear?
Yeah.
And about all that there. All that had been, it wasn't the first couple of weeks were hard, but once I was in there for 3 months. See, by the time I came to 3 months, I was as fresh as a daisy. I mean, I finally found out, like, I got really deep with the counsellors. I got really deep and got everything that I needed off my chest. And that was it. I just remember saying, see, if I didn't have kids, I would stay here another year.
Yeah.
I just felt that safe, great, intent. I was happy getting up in the mornings and doing the rosary and doing things.
Is that what the routine is?
Get up at 6 a.m, you do the rosary, you do your thing, you have a job. I worked in the kitchen and doing things, food and all, and then you have your counselling sessions, you have your wee group meetings. And listen, for anyone out there that's suffering or feels that there's no way out, Coomera is a place that you need to look into, because honestly, it changes lives. But unfortunately for me, I fell back into a trap whenever I came out 6 months sober. Started hanging about with boys that I used to drink with, but I was drinking juice, and then trying to prove myself. Slowly but surely, I ended up having one bang, and that was me. Drinking until then I was hospitalised, and then from I was hospitalised, I haven't took a drink from.
How long ago was that?
4.5 years. A day before my daughter's birthday, Orphea's birthday. So 4.5 years. 4.5 years.
And you haven't touched a drop? No,
not one drop. Now, I've had a 0-0. I've had a 0-0. That's what I'm saying. And see, to be honest, like a 0-0.
See, there's no alcohol in it. See the taste of the beer. Does that make you wanna have?
It's not even that there. So I would usually just drink Coke or Red Bull, but I end up getting filled up with drinking it, and I'm like, see, if I have a 0-0, a bottle of like 0-0,
you can
like it feels as if like I'm socialising a wee bit more. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't want to drink. I don't want to get drunk. but it just feels as if that I'm socialising a
part
wee
of
bit
it,
more.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's all.
Can he still go out, or do you still
I
go
still
out?
go out. I was saying went to Arlana's wedding, and it was like a 5-day when people were drinking from morning, noon, and
Yeah.
night, 5 days. I went to Turkey. Me and Kieran, the kids, went to Turkey last year. Had a drinking Pepsi all week. It was powerful. And then over here, like my good mates are Michael Healy, Daniel Mackin, Big Dan Rocks, me Owen Donaghy. Obviously Big Stevie O'Neill, and like I would go out with Emmons. I would go out after football matches with the Plunket team. Like Ogie and all the manager and all the rest of the boys, and they would say to me, what do you want? Jody, do you want? I would do it back on a Saturday, go around after my match and sit and watch the results with the lads, and
So like you don't, and that's a good message as well. You actually don't need alcohol to enjoy yourself and to have a normal life.
Maybe it depends on the person you are. Tell me, I like see me. I like obviously I've found who I am, what I am. I'm a bubbly person, and I've confidence. You know what I mean? I have confidence. I'm a bubbly person. I'm not afraid to have a bit of crack and whatever else, but I don't need drink to do it. Do you know what I mean? I found the best nights I've had out or at weddings we out drink or different things, and I went to Weber's wedding, and to be honest, he sets me up big time. He put me on a table with Venti Adams and Bubs. Do you know Venti and Bubs? The two biggest headers in the road. And I'm sitting there and listening to M2, and I had to listen to M2 for hours. And I was ready to drive me a drink. I was like, fuck me. But no. So if I can do that, I can go for anything. But
what about meetings? Do you go to meetings?
Nah, I did for the first 7 months. For me, AA is not for me.
Right.
It is for people. I'm not saying don't go to AA, but like, it's just not for me.
Yeah.
I feel AA, whenever I go, sometimes I can drain you. You're listening to the same people bringing up the same stuff. For me, sport is my way of dealing with things, being happy and being social and doing things that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? AA for me, I don't know. Maybe I'm being a wee bit of I think it's more for like lonely people, like that don't have any other way of socializing.
Yeah, sort of go to meetings.
To make friends or I don't know. Listen, everyone has an opinion, and I'm not saying I'm right. That's just the way I feel about it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And they do have this thing in AA, and it does annoy me a wee bit. Like if you don't go to meetings, you will drink again. Like I know people that's went to meetings, and I've heard people when I'm in meetings, they've went to meetings for 30 years. And they've ended up back in a drink. So it's not all about it. Do you know what I mean? So for me, the meetings don't work for me, mate. Do you know what I mean?
So just sport and
I keep the right people around me.
Yeah, definitely.
It's the right people. It's the right people around me. If I need a chat, if I ever feel as if I have someone to talk to, a good friend, and it's a woman, and she knows who she is, I would give her a ring, and I would go up to her wee apartment and would have a coffee, and we would sit and chat for 2-3 hours, and that would be it.
And then I make you lift the load off.
And she doesn't do AA either. She so after you come out of Camera, you do like a aftercare down in St. Paul's, down just facing the Royal there. So she runs that,
right,
and she doesn't do AA, and she's I think 5-6 years sober now. She's 6 years sober.
Kind of on the same.
So she's doing amazing as well. So I would hire. That's what I'm saying. That's if I am ever feeling that I'm like I need someone to talk to, because obviously I can't speak to people who are not alcoholics.
Because they won't relate.
They won't relate. So I ring her and I go and have a word with her.
And you're back playing football then as well. See, you're on a score sheet every other week.
No, well, listen, I'm not really a goal scorer, Tommy. Listen, about 2 years ago, we had the best Plunket team it's ever going to go down history. We got the intermediate final, and it was unbelievable. It was the best season I've ever had in my whole life of football. And I'm being honest, being able to walk out wearing the black and white jersey, and you know how much I love Plunket. You know how much I love him. And just going out to Windsor, and there was like looking behind me, and my kids I walked my 2 kids out onto the pitch. They had their Plunket stuff on. They were playing there this morning too, and looked up behind me, and you had like 2,500 from West Belfast all supporting us. We're all
Yeah.
standing in a big lane.
That
And
makes up for the missing out in Celtic Park.
No, big time. Listen, fuck Celtic Park. You know what I mean? Fuck Celtic Park. Um, that there alone, just for the main man, Jackie Maxwell, who you know, and
Yeah.
you
Rest in
know,
peace, Jack.
I so like just looking up and just seeing the whole crowd all cheering us on and just getting that second goal, because we got the second goal. I hit the corner in, and we got a flick and the ball in the net, and as I was at the corner, the whole roar from everyone behind me just got me shivers right up me. And then I ended up getting hooked at about 75 minutes, and I blame O'Gane out there for hooking me. We're chasing the game, trying to win, and we end up conceding a late one. But what an experience. Plunkett, listen, what an experience. But Tommy, see, to be honest, my dad started a pool team in the West Club or two years ago, before he took sick, and he was always wanting me to come down and join it, whatever else, and then I eventually did.
Don't tell me you're good at pool as well, Jody.
I'm half decent. I'm half decent. I'm half decent. So as my dad was down, I would have rang him every day. Me and him were down. I would have worked for UPS at the time on the phone, talking away to him, and he had just always talked about pool. He loved his pool, and he drank in the West. It's probably one of the best bars in the road. Like, it's class. It's a class run bar. It's brilliant. And my dad travelled around, him and the fella, his good mate, his Kieran, travelled around the whole of Ireland there, to try to get the Pacific table. My dad got it anyway. There's only 4 of them in the whole of the North. So he got that table, and it's up. That's where our home matches are played. And sort of when my dad took sick, I got the phone call. He was down. He was in the hospital. I was in down. Told him he obviously had a couple of hours, but he was still able to talk.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Jody, I'm all right. Try my best. You better fucking take over our pool team." I was like, I don't know here. But so from out there, I can't let that go.
Yeah, I can't let
that go. So I went out and I got us all new pool. The 2 teams got loads of sponsors and got us all our own pool t-shirts and our own thing. So we look like a good. We'll look apart. We'll look apart. And now I'm not saying we're the best, but we're the best dressed. But so I enjoy my pool. I enjoy my pool. And like I say, and that's a Thursday night. That would be like a night out for me.
Yeah.
Do you know, like people go out at the weekends? A Thursday night, I go down. I'm in the bar. I would sit and, you know what I mean, game of pool and sit and have a bit of crack with all the pool mates and all. So it's
good.
class.
So you've got to hang all your ducks in a row for you to have a fulfilling life, Jordan. And you're still like using your sporting talent. I can't believe you're burning the pool as well. Like, what can this man not do? For God's sake. What about the kids? Are any of them showing any potential?
Our Rihanna and Fia both play for Plunkett. Now Fia plays camogie, Gaelic, and the soccer, and she's
a tip off the old blood.
She's they're 2 different personalities. Our Fia is like complete opposite, not opposite of Rihanna. Rihanna's come on leaps and bounds. So our Rihanna's a first year, Fia's a P7. But our Fia would run through a brick wall. Literally, she's tough as nails. So she's very good. And then Rihanna she's outstanding as well. Yeah. She gets a ball, and she's more of a technical player. She'll get the ball, she'll take it around people, drive into space, put balls into their box. She's very good at her age, you know. And for girls, it's only new for me to take girls. I was taking boys out for a couple of years, and I had their own inside, and I grew up a great bond with all the lads, and I'm not joking. I swear they were when I first took them, they were all good players. Yeah. But I felt that as me and another coach, Declan, worked with them over the last couple of years, they have went from there to there, and it was class moments with Emmons as well. Coaching gives me a real good buzz. Gives me a big lift. I love coaching. That's my thing. So I haven't really committed to playing this year. I did at the start of the year, first couple of games, but there's a lot of things that I've had too much going on. I've had a lot on, mate, and like I say, it's just hard to keep everyone happy. Do you know what I mean? So and if I try to keep everyone happy, forgetting about myself, it can lead one way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But Jody, listen, as Tyrone would say, we've talked enough shit. Even though that wasn't any shit talk, that was brilliant. Thanks for sharing our whole story, and I wish you all the best on your road to everything what you're doing. Next Next time we back, it'll be friggin' pool champion of the world. What
Listen,
else could we get you in?
Get you and me and get me on the in the undercard again. I
On
want
the
a rematch.
undercard
I want a
rematch.
rematch with Halo or McCulloch.
Right, folks, that was Jody Lynch, the greatest sporting star to ever come out of this city. I want to say, sign up to the Patreon, £2 a month. Again, check out the Spar on BBC iPlayer and get tickets for Thrones Fight on the 7th of December. That's it. Thanks for watching, folks. Peace out.